My dear brothers and sisters, have you ever poured your heart out to someone, only to walk away feeling more empty, more exposed, more misunderstood? Today, I want to tell you something that could change your life. Don't tell people everything. Tell Allah first, because He listens when no one else does. He heals when no one else can. Don't tell people. Tell Allah. In this powerful Islamic reminder, we explore the emotional weight of sharing our pain with the wrong people and the deep spiritual healing that comes from turning to Allah instead. We live in a world where oversharing feels normal, but not every listener is safe. Not every ear is sacred. You deserve more than momentary sympathy. You deserve divine healing. And that begins not in a group chat, but in sujud, in silence, and in sincere prayer. People may listen, but they can't always understand, support, or heal. Only Allah can fully comprehend the sorrow in your silence, the tear that never fell, and the prayers you couldn't voice. Before we go deep into this reminder, hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an uplifting message. 1. People hear you but can't heal you. We often turn to friends when we're hurting. We rant, we post, we pour our hearts out. But here's the truth. People hear you, but they can't heal you. Their hearts are limited. Their patience fades. Their understanding is flawed. Only Allah can truly comprehend what weighs on your chest, even when you can't explain it yourself. Yes, they hear you. They nod, they comfort, they sympathize. But their understanding is limited. Their compassion has an expiry date. Even the kindest people can get tired, confused, or distracted. They may say, "I'm here for you," and mean it, but only for a while. And when their own problems return, your pain might become background noise. Not because they're heartless, but because they're human. Only Allah hears you fully, understands you deeply, and stays with you endlessly. 2. Allah's mercy has no limits. Allah never gets tired of hearing you. You don't need to word things perfectly. You don't need to wait until He's in the mood. He knows the trembling in your voice, the tear that didn't fall, the pain hidden behind your smile. Allah says in Quran, we are closer to Him than His jugular vein. Chapter 50, verse 16, He's closer than your own thoughts. He knows what even you don't know about yourself. Allah's mercy doesn't run out when the world does. You could fall 1,000 times and He would still be there, waiting not with judgment, but with gentleness. Even when you feel ashamed to ask again, even when you think, I've asked too much, Allah's door remains wide open. He never rolls His eyes, never says not again, never grows tired of hearing your voice, because He is the most compassionate. And His mercy covers not just your actions, but your emotions, your silence, and even your regrets. Think of how many times you've been forgiven quietly, how many blessings you received without asking, how many dangers you were protected from without even knowing. That's not chance. That's divine mercy at work. Allah doesn't wait for you to be perfect to show you love. He shows you love, so you remember to return to Him. So never feel like you're too far gone. You're always one sincere prayer away from a mercy that knows no end. 3. Not everyone deserves access to your pain. You might think, they love me, they'll understand. But even the kindest people are not equipped to carry your wounds. Some people pity you publicly, but rejoice privately. Others may unintentionally spread what you shared. Your vulnerability deserves protection. Don't trade your pain for temporary relief and permanent regret. Your pain is not public property. It is not meant for every friend, follower, or family member. There is sacredness in your suffering, and not every heart is worthy of holding it. Sometimes, in the search for comfort, we hand over our wounds to people who don't know how to treat them, not because they're cruel, but because they're incapable. They offer advice without depth, opinions without understanding, and sometimes, even unintentionally, turn your vulnerability into gossip. The truth is, not everyone sees your pain as precious. Some are merely curious. Some use your story to feel superior. And some, though they mean well, simply don't have the spiritual maturity to carry what you're carrying. That's why turning to Allah first is not just an act of faith. It's an act of protection. When you choose to share your sorrow with the one who wrote your story, you place it in the safest hands possible. And that My beloved, is where your healing begins. 3. The power of privacy. Look at Prophet Yaqub. May Allah be pleased with him. He lost his son, cried until he went blind, but he said, I only complain of my sorrow and grief to Allah. Quran chapter 12, verse 86. That's spiritual strength. He didn't make his pain a public announcement. He turned it into prayer, not gossip. Privacy is not about secrecy. It's about sanctity. When you choose to keep certain struggles between you and Allah, you're not hiding weakness. You're preserving strength. You're protecting your heart from misinterpretation, from judgment, and from becoming entertainment for others. There's a quiet power in walking through storms without broadcasting the thunder. You're telling the world, I don't need validation. I need divine healing. Every unseen tear, every unspoken struggle is a secret between you and your Lord. And what's kept with him is never lost. While the world rushes overshare to seek sympathy in the form of likes and comments, you retreat to Sujud, where your tears are seen and your silence is heard. That's where your reward multiplies. That's where your dignity remains intact. In the era of constant exposure, choosing privacy is an act of worship and an act of incredible inner strength. 5. Speak to Allah more than people. When you speak to people, it often ends in conversation. When you speak to Allah, it becomes worship. Even your silent tears are recorded, carried by angels, written in your book of deeds. Don't underestimate what happens when you simply whisper, Ya Allah. The heart finds peace not in being heard by many, but in being heard by the one. You could explain yourself to 10 different people and still feel misunderstood. You could pour out your soul in countless conversations and still feel empty. But one whisper to Allah, even without perfect words, carries more weight than 1,000 explanations to others. Because he doesn't just listen, he understands. He responds, sustains, and heals in ways no human ever could. When you speak to people, they may forget. But when you speak to Allah, he records. Every sigh, every tear, every trembling plea is preserved with care. Even when your voice shakes, even when you can't articulate what you're feeling, Allah already knows. So speak freely. Pour your heart out, whether it's in sujud, in a silent dua, or just a thought rising from your soul. Allah listens without judgment, interruption, or comparison. And the more you speak to him, the less dependent you become on the world. You stop seeking validation in likes, replies, or reactions. You stop craving human approval. Instead, your heart anchors itself in divine certainty. You begin to trust the one who never breaks his promises. And that trust becomes your strength. Quiet, unshakable, and unexplainable. You'll find yourself healing in ways you never imagined, simply because you made Allah your first listener, not your last resort. 6. Sujud, the ultimate refuge. Sujud is more than a posture. It's a declaration, a surrender, a quiet scream to the one who hears you without needing words. In sujud, you may not get an immediate solution, but you will walk away lighter, stronger, spiritually connected. Sujud is where your soul finally exhales. In a world full of noise, opinions, and performance, sujud is the one place where you can just be raw, honest, broken, and safe. It's the sacred ground where your burdens aren't judged, they're lifted. Where you don't have to pretend you're okay, because Allah already knows you're not. No human can carry the depth of your sorrow like your Creator can, and no moment can carry your grief like the ground beneath your forehead in sujud. When your head touches the floor, your heart rises. Sujud is not just an act of humility. It's an act of intimacy. You're not just bowing down. You're rising into closeness with the one who holds your heart. In that moment, you are no longer defined by your struggles, your past, or your pain. You are defined by your connection to the most merciful. And it is in that very posture that miracles begin, sometimes not by changing your situation, but by transforming your soul. There's a healing in sujud that no therapy can match. It's where your sins fall, your fears dissolve, and your heart realigns. In sujud, you don't need fancy words, just sincerity. Allah doesn't ask for eloquence. He asks for presence. So cry if you need to. Breathe if that's all you can do. Stay there as long as it takes. Because every second in sujud is a declaration of faith, a moment of refuge, and a doorway to healing that the world can't see, but your Lord does. 7. The response of Allah is worth the silence. People may respond with, I'm here for you. But only Allah can say, call upon me, I will respond to you. Quran chapter 40, verse 60. That's not poetry. That's a divine promise. And Allah's answers come in the best way, at the best time, with the best outcome, even if you don't see it right away. Silence and hardship is not emptiness. It's expectation. When you hold your tongue and turn to Allah instead, you're not suppressing your pain. You're elevating it. The world may see your quietness as weakness, but the heavens see it as strong faith, deep trust. It's in that silence that angels write down your restraint, your patience, your reliance. You may not hear a reply instantly, but trust that every moment of quiet faith is echoing in the unseen world with reward beyond your imagination. Allah's response is not always loud, but it is always perfect. Sometimes His answer isn't a dramatic change in your situation. It's a calmness in your heart, a subtle shift in your chest, a sudden peace in the middle of your chaos. That's not a coincidence. That's Allah gently responding, easing your burden, renewing your strength. His silence isn't neglect. It's precision. It's Him crafting a better outcome than the one you beg for. And often, when it finally comes, you'll realize the delay was actually mercy in disguise. You may feel forgotten, but Allah is preparing something unforgettable. The tear you cried in secret, the whispered, Ya Allah, no one else heard. None of it is lost. Allah's knowledge is complete, His memory is eternal, and His justice is flawless. When the answer comes, and it will arrive in a way that makes you say, only Allah could have done this. That's the kind of response worth waiting for. That's the kind of silence that leads to divine surprises. So stay firm, stay hopeful, and keep speaking to the one who never stops listening. 8. Oversharing weakens patience. Talking about your pain over and over doesn't always help. It can actually trap you in it. You begin to relive it. You magnify it. You don't just feel pain, you become identified by it. But when you speak less and trust more, your patience becomes worship. Every time you retell your pain, you reopen the wound. You may think you're healing by venting, but sometimes you're just rehearsing your grief, embedding it deeper into your heart. Patience doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means directing them toward the right place. The more you describe your hurt to others who can't fix it, the more power you give the pain to define you. But when you take that same pain to Allah, it becomes a source of reward instead of ruin. You're no longer feeding the storm. You're surrendering it. Oversharing doesn't just weaken patience. It feeds anxiety. You start overanalyzing people's reactions, wondering who now knows your secret, or if your vulnerability has become someone else's conversation. You give your grief a bigger stage than it deserves, and it begins to occupy more space than necessary. In time, the problem seems bigger not because it actually grew, but because you gave it oxygen by retelling it repeatedly. Meanwhile, true patience quietly endures, trusting that what is unspoken is still known to the one who matters most. Silence in patience is not denial, it's discipline. It's choosing to guard your heart, to speak less and reflect more. It's not about bottling pain. It's about choosing where to pour it. The prophet made the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him. In his greatest trials, didn't seek a crowd to validate his sorrow. He turned to the one who already knew. And that's where we find strength, not in the noise of 1,000 ears, but in the silent cry that only Allah hears. The less you speak to people about your test, the more space you leave for Allah to transform it into triumph. Patience is power, not silence. Patience isn't weakness. It's power. It's the quiet dignity of holding yourself together and saying, Allah is enough for me. And those silent moments of patience, they rise like mountains on the day of judgment. Patience is not the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of it. It's crying, feeling overwhelmed, or even breaking down, yet choosing not to let the pain push you towards sin. Patience doesn't mean you're unaffected. It means that in your lowest moments, you still choose righteousness. You still choose to trust Allah's plan over your understanding. It's not silence from despair. It's silence filled with conviction, with faith, with the belief that relief is near even when it feels far. Patience isn't weakness. It's quiet courage. The kind of courage that doesn't shout, doesn't post, doesn't blame. It simply holds firm. Patience is waking up after a sleepless night and saying Alhamdulillah, even with a heavy heart. It's resisting the urge to complain to people who can't change your situation and instead whispering Ya Allah in the stillness of your room. It's the shield that guards your soul from falling apart in public, even when it's breaking in private. And the reward of patience is not just in Jannah. It starts here. Allah promises in the Quran. Indeed, Allah is with the patient. Quran chapter 2, verse 153. That means in your heartbreak, your silence, your unspoken battles. Allah is not just watching. He is with you. He is comforting you in unseen ways. Every time you choose patience, you gain an invisible strength, a calm that cannot be explained. That's not just endurance. It's divine companionship. That's not silence. It's spiritual strength cloaked in trust. 10. Sujud is where healing begins. The world asks you to explain your pain, but in Sujud, you are understood without explanation. No judgment, no interruptions, no misunderstanding. Just you and Allah. Sujud is where your brokenness finds its purpose. In that moment when your forehead touches the ground, you are no longer holding the weight of your pain alone. You're placing it before the one who created you, the one who understands you without words. Sujud isn't just a position of submission. It's a place of surrender. It's where the weight you've been carrying for days, weeks, or even years begins to lift quietly, gently, and powerfully, because the ground that touches your forehead is also touching the mercy of Allah. In Sujud, your tears are not just seen, they are sacred. Each one carries a story, a pain, a longing that the world may never know. But in Sujud, Allah knows every detail behind every drop. And unlike people, He doesn't tire of your repetition or roll His eyes at your silence. You cry the same tears, whisper the same prayer, and ask the same help 1,000 times, and still, He listens again and again without boredom, without judgment. That's where true healing begins. Not in a response from people, but in the response from the most merciful. Healing in Sujud doesn't always mean your situation changes. It means you do. Maybe the storm doesn't end right away, but you come out of Sujud stronger, calmer, and more certain of Allah's plan. Your eyes may still be wet, but your heart feels lighter. That's not magic. It's mercy. The kind that's poured over you in prostration. The kind that transforms your breakdown into breakthrough, your fear into faith, and your pain into peace. That is the power of Sujud, the most intimate, healing conversation between a servant and his Lord.
11. Allah never forgets a single tear. The tear you shed last night. The prayer you whispered in exhaustion. The forgiveness you gave someone just for Allah's sake. None of it is forgotten. Allah turns it into reward, mercy, and sometimes, legacy. Just like the prayer of Prophet Zachariah, may Allah be pleased with him, your quiet moment could echo in eternity. You may forget the night you broke down, but Allah never does. That night when your pillow soaked with tears and your heart couldn't form words, that night is recorded in the heavens. The angels didn't just witness your pain. They documented your patience, your silence, your whispered, Ya Allah. While people sleep unaware of your grief, your Lord remains awake, watching over you, wrapping you in His mercy. Not a single tear was wasted. Each one carries weight on the day when deeds are measured. Not in likes, not in sympathy, but in sincerity. Sometimes the tears you hide are the loudest cries to Allah. You may not speak your pain aloud. You may walk through life with a smile while carrying a storm within, but Allah knows. He sees the strength it takes to stay silent, to be kind, to keep praying. And He counts that effort. Your silence is not emptiness. It's elevation. Each time you wipe your tears and turn to Him instead of the world, you are planting seeds of reward. No eye can see, but every angel records. And one day, you'll stand before Allah and see those hidden moments turned into mountains of mercy. Allah's remembrance of your pain is not passive. It's purposeful. He remembers so He can respond. He sees what you endured in secret, and prepares ease just as quietly. The help you didn't see coming, the peace that suddenly entered your heart, the solution that arrived without announcement, those were replies to tears you thought were ignored. But nothing is lost with Allah. Not your pain, not your patience, not even your silent prayers. He is Al-Hafiz, the guardian of all things. And your tears are among the most sacred things He preserves. 12. Final reflection. Speak to Allah first. So next time your heart is heavy, don't post. Don't text. Don't vent. Make wudu. Fall into sujud. Speak to the one who never left you. Because while others forget, Allah remembers. While others move on, Allah prepares. And what's written for you is already on its way. When your heart aches, let the first name you call be Allah. Not out of habit but out of certainty. People may comfort but only Allah can cure. They may listen but only He responds with perfect wisdom at the perfect time in the perfect way. Speaking to Allah first isn't just an act of faith. It's a sign that your heart knows where true help lies. It's a quiet declaration that, my Lord is enough for me. And from that moment, even before the relief comes, you are already being carried by His mercy. The more you turn to people before turning to Allah, the more you'll feel disappointed. Not because people are evil but because they are human. They have limitations. They forget, they get tired, they misunderstand. But when you make Allah your first listener, you enter a sacred space where your words are never twisted, your pain is never dismissed, and your heart is always understood. No filter needed. No perfect wording required. Just you and your Lord, raw, real and honest. Let your first instinct be sujud, not status updates. Let your healing begin at the prayer mat, not in public posts. There is beauty in trusting Allah first, and there is barakah in silence kept between you and Him. So the next time your soul feels heavy and the world feels loud, pause, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and whisper, Ya Allah, because what you tell Him lives forever. In the heavens, in your scale of good deeds, and in the quiet ways He answers you when you need it most. My dear brothers and sisters, you are not weak for staying quiet. You are not foolish for turning inward. You are wise for trusting Allah first. May Allah be the one we turn to, the one we rely on, and the one who heals every unseen wound. If this message touched your heart, subscribe for more Islamic reminders. Like and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And in the comments, simply write, Ya Allah, I trust you. Jazakum Allahu khairan. May peace, healing, and mercy fill your hearts always.